the city wasn't so light. See bitches that I really you know shine, but I do I ain't say one pictures like well that's just one do I. Time is money and money is time. Money stays on my mind that I bring dollar signs. HATE bitch let's do it. I'ma stay in the spotlight, get used to it. Okay, so you smoke blunts and I smoke bitches. I rip your brain out with no duck and no picture. Cause I'm the shit and my shirt is a tissue. Rather all these bitches staring like they got a fucking issue. Like why oh why I can't be like her. Well bitch I was right inside of my diapers and I'm nursery days like Peter Piper. Now I got these niggas feeling like I want to fight her. No, fuck that. Hand over your fucking beef. But I am a dog, digger, hand me a civil now. Call me Bruce Lee, cause I say fucking bitches stuff. I'm gonna buy blue shooting now. Eating 50 sucks, kind of bone, no homo. I think about these bitches, it's a new resurrection. No, I'm motherfucking coming, but I'll be your protection. My phone was up like an STD. I think you should have the top, like on BET. I mean, I'm thinking about running up the chance in the summer when I call, I like to action. Watch us how you sensitive. Like, camera action. Now let's start the chain reaction. Now, I really one hit stuff like they're always saying, but I'm still a rich bitch in your whore life range. Wanna be like me, good dream, hope that I run this shit. I am the motherfucking Pope. You heard Stevie Wonder bitch? You can't see me. Such a band from Pluto because I'm far from Earth. That's why I got this on my mama, I was bad at first. I'm not alone, but I know I'm still a bad bitch. Look at the way I walk with a bad bitch. And he's everywhere, except for yet to go down south. I got that kind of chemistry, I will know them is now. Too much information. But I have no explanation. And I wasn't even joking, but fuck you, pay me out and this is my slogan.
Jamie Ross version of Last Silent Queen.
Real game, smart lips, bomb lips to my nail stages. I'm so attractive. Kiss aside, give it fantastic. Keeping it on my ass, so I let them know what's happening. This fashion shit and get that guap for the matic. Gotta stay steady, never second, no action. Keep them real happy with these steeds, I'm offended. To the bank we go when these cents we are finished. My baby never slacking, I call him real beastie. He feel like a brother, so I sent him real tasty. His name is Rye, but he's gonna call me Husky. I'm married to this money.